Alright guys, welcome back to Kuroji Gaming. I'm going to make this my second part to this. I think I'm going to make it 4 videos in total. And the reason why is because on the first video, I didn't really show you guys what I used to sand it. So, to sand it, what I used, because the scratches weren't that deep, I used 120 first, and then I got rid of most of the paint and the primer and the clear coat, and then I went over it with the 320 and kind of smoothed it out a little bit. So you want to go, with the thicker stuff first, and then you want to go with the lighter stuff to get it nice and smooth, but you don't want it too smooth. You don't want it super smooth, and the reason why is because primer, clear coat, and base coat, they all need something to stick on. So whenever you sand it down, all those little microscopic scratches that you leave on there, that's what the paint sticks to. So you don't want it super smooth. You don't want to sand it down to 2000, and then don't do that. Just do the 320 or the 120 first to get it the heavier, do the heavier work, and then use a 320 or maybe a 400, and then sand that down as well, and then it'll be somewhat smooth. Then you throw the primer, and then what I like to do is I like to use the 600, 6 or 800, whichever one. After the primer cures, then what you want to use is the 600. You could do it either wet or dry, or wet or dry. And by wet, I mean just put some water on it and sand it down with water and the sandpaper. Or you can do it dry. I like to do it with the wet because it's actually, I don't know, it works better for me. So I wet sand it. I just spray some water, or get the sandpaper, dunk it in some water, just pour water on the sandpaper, and then sand it down nice and smooth. And you don't want it too smooth. Again, like I said, you want those really small scratches on there so that the base has something to stick to, like those little crevices, the scratches that you leave on there. The paint will stick inside of that, and that's what you want. So you wet sand it with 600, you put the base coat on there, and once the base coat's on there, what you want to do is, once the base coat's on there, and you don't have to sand it down anymore. You can, I don't like to, just because if sometimes when you wet sand a base coat, it'll dull the paint, and then when you throw the clear coat, it'll be a dull paint job. Like the paint itself will be kind of dull. So I don't wet sand. Once the base coat's on there, you just let it dry. Get that tack cloth and run it through there. Get all those dust molecules off there, and then you once the clear coat is on there and it's dry, then you wet sand it with the 2000. You wet sand it. It ain't gotta be crazy sanded, just a light sand, where once you feel it, it'll be really smooth. And then once it's really smooth, then you buff it, and man, the quality is great. But yeah, usually you can throw water on the floor so you don't kick dust up and it gets all over the paint, but it's okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be like 100% perfect, because first of all, you're not doing it in a paint booth. You're not using heat, you know, to cure the paint. You know, like I said, it's not a paint booth. You can run some water on the floor. It'll actually help. I do it sometimes, but at this occasion, I really didn't. Let's see. I don't know if I'm missing anything. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else. If you guys can think of something that I might have missed, the next video, I'm already gonna wet sand it. I'm just letting it dry. I threw some more primer on there. So once it's fully dry, I'm gonna throw some, I'm gonna wet sand it with 600 wet sand. And then I'm gonna throw the base. I'll make another video of me throwing the base coat on there. And then my last video is gonna be me throwing the clear coat. And the reason you want to, you know, once you've, like right now, I'm gonna wet sand. Make sure you wet sand is a little bit further than where you painted. That way, some of the clear coat comes off, because you can paint over the base coat that's already there, because you're really only throwing base coat over base coat that's already there. So try to sand off some of the clear coat, and then when you throw the base, it'll get stuck to the base that's already on there. And then the final thing is you just throw the clear coat a little bit over that, you know, past that, and then it'll be nice and perfect. I mean, you can barely see it now. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could probably get away with just primering it, but I'm not doing that. Because you want to protect the paint that you throw on there, and so you want to throw the base coat and the clear coat, and the more layers of clear coat that you throw on there, the more protection the paint will have. But okay. But anyways, if you guys have any questions, or if I missed something, just let me know. I'll be happy to answer. Like I said, this isn't like a super professional job. I know how to do it. It's in my garage, and it's a customer's car that wanted it done real quick, so easy fix for now. You know, if they want to take it to someone to paint, you know, do professional work, they're gonna have to take off the whole bumper, sand it all down, and then actually use a spray gun to primer, base, clear. And you know, I mean, I could do that in here. I do have all the equipment, but that's not what I'm getting paid for. I'm just getting paid for a simple job, and that's what I'm doing. Simple, easy job, and that's what they wanted, so that's what I'm giving them. But okay. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Please subscribe.